How do you riddle an entire movie with fucking Guns N' Roses, and then once everything is said and done, you're like, here's Dio.
Yeah, who
like,
does
come
it?
on, guy. Who does that, man? I feel like that might be the most egregious thing with Thor: Love and Thunder, in my opinion. Though there are many an egregious thing in my opinion. Also, we'll talk about that. You just up front, we're not a big fan of Thor Ragnarok. I don't really know what you thought of the other Thor movies.
I liked them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, part 2 is a big hating point for a lot of people.
It was fine.
Come on, guys, fine.
Like a 7.
Definitely better than some of the shit we're seeing nowadays. I'll tell you that. I really liked Ragnarok. I know that's kind of like a big point of you either like it or you don't for a lot of people. You were kind of like, you liked elements of it, but you didn't like other elements of it. Here, I think, I'm just going to guess you mad hate everything in it. Well, I'm going to say you mad hate about 90% of it. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Could be wrong, guy.
I feel a little conflicted, honestly. I think I'm going to feel it out.
Okay, we'll see where it goes. I will say that just off the vibe and stink that I was getting off of you. It was just stink, your butt stinking. But
we went to Dollar Tree today, my butt stunk. Just putting that
Johnny
out.
Wet Ass in the
Johnny
house.
Wet Ass was alive.
Wet ass. We might do a Johnny Wet Ass shirt.
Yeah,
I don't know. If you're willing to wear a naked butt, let us know because we'll do a shirt.
Butt.
His naked butt specifically. Anyway, Johnny Wet Ass aside. Yeah, man.
I got so much.
I'm a little conflicted too. I'll be honest with you. Look, I don't hate this movie in the least. I know some people are really fucking tearing into it.
I get it,
but and I get it. But this was way better than Doctor Strange 2. I'm sorry.
Well,
leagues.
Let's not even acknowledge Doctor Strange 2's existence.
Let's not.
Yeah.
Because already there's kind of been established that Thor movies are going to have a humorous element, increasingly so as they go
comedies
along.
now, apparently.
Yeah, with Doctor Strange, it just felt like, what the fuck are you doing? And then it wasn't good. And there's a lot of jokes in Thor that, while they don't land, they're also not. I mean, they're cornball, but they're not god awful. They're very much in tune with the way Thor's been slowly changed.
I think for me, why I was less hateful of this than Ragnarok as we were watching it, because during watching Ragnarok, I was like, actively.
Right.
Why I think that didn't happen is because it's more consistent in its tone.
I would disagree with that. I think this is highly inconsistent in its tone.
I think it's consistent in the fact that it's just like, this isn't even freaking anything serious. It's just a shit-ass comedy.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that.
And it's like that throughout, I should say. That's what I meant.
What I mean by inconsistent for me is that we have some serious matters at hand for these characters, and they're treated so flippantly that it fucking sucks. Especially if you've read the material. Now, I'm not one to be like, they didn't do it exactly like the comic. Fuck that shit. If you're that guy, you're an idiot, because MCU has been not doing it like the comic for like a long ass time here. Yeah. But I'm not that guy. I just feel that the story of Gore was shafted. I felt that about Hela, who's a villain I really enjoy. But I felt she got a better shake than Gore did. Gore's just been stripped down to almost nothing. So there's no heft to his story. And thus there's no heft to the parallels between him and Thor. The Thor, Gore, Connor, if you will. So I feel he got really like shafted on that end. And then of course the fact that it's so humor heavy, it just also cheapens.
It has no weight.
Yeah. His story. And then it cheapens Jane's position where she is, so you're just kind of like, okay, they died. Spoiler, by the way. We're not ruining anything. If you wanted to see Thor, you've already seen it, so we're just talking about it. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about, because we're going to assume you've seen it already.
I think you already wrapped it up. It was Thor, Gore, Connor.
The Thor, Gore, Connor was the thing. But, you know what? Fuck it. If you haven't seen it, Thor, he's kind of like drifting between places, right? And he's hanging out with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Blah blah blah. This threat of this god killer comes up, and the long gone Natalie Portman's Jane Foster pops up. She's now Thor because she's going through some cancer stuff, and she found out that maybe she could get a little better if she had a Mjolnir on her side, which turns out she did. And then they have to band together, and they attempt to band together with other gods to go kill this Gore God Butcher threat.
Who I guess is there.
Let's get into it, man. Look, Let's just start off with
Can
the
I start
negs.
with some positives first?
Okay, I was gonna say negs, but let's start with the pause.
Okay, my pauses. I liked Gore. What was there? The 3 seconds that he was in the movie, I was like, he's pretty cool. Like portrayed cool.
Right.
But it's our boy Chris Bale, okay?
He's Chris. I love Chris. You know, if you've been watching our series on Corny Obsessions, after my obsession with Kevin Costner ended, I obsessed over Christian Bale. Okay. So I'm gonna love Chris.
Yeah, I liked Chris. I liked the action. I thought it was actually pretty cool looking. This is a weird one. I like the use of licensed music. I think it fit pretty cool in the scenes.
And that takes a lot for us to admit that, because Guns N' Roses sucks my
GNR
nuts.
is ass juice. And I think that's it. Honestly, I hated the goats. Let me say that. And I hated the JCVD thing. It's like, dude, what is this? Like 10-year-old memes?
The split.
Yeah, 10-year-old memes at this point.
Let me see. Positives.
Positive.
I will agree with the action's pretty cool looking. Some of the humor does land and it's fine. Some of the other humor is just like whatever, but we'll get into the negatives right now. I gotta put a positive for me is Russell Crowe.
Russ is a pause?
He was chewing so much scenery.
I thought you were gonna hate on him.
Well, you know it's hard for me to hate Russ.
That's true. He's more freaking head than man at this point.
He is more head than man, and more gut than man, and more head gut than all eternity.
Seeing the Russ scene, I was like, man, this is gonna rub my boy the wrong way.
No, I think he like went along with this silly endeavor, the best of everybody here. And that's saying a lot, because Crims Hemsworth usually knows how to balance this stuff.
Crims is pretty good.
Crims is my favorite. But I think he was
struggling at some times.
Yeah.
It's like, jeez, man.
Chris could not handle some of these scenes, guy.
Yeah.
And that's hard, because he can handle just about any type of humor.
He's a likable guy, and sometimes you're like, oh, God, stop making him do this.
It was weird. But I think Russ was like, this is ridiculous. Let me ham this up. The most overwrought Grecian accent. You even were like, what accent is this?
And I'm like, chef,
this is probably why you hear British accents in Grecian like epics, because Grecian accents, especially overwrought ones, are pretty weird. But he was just hamming it up, and I loved it. I thought Bale was cool, but I'm not gonna go a full out positive. One, because of course his character was so stripped down.
He's barely a character.
He's so barely a character. So he's cool, but I think the discussion on that for me is more on the negative side. So we'll get into that. I feel like they could have picked something besides Guns N' Roses to lean on here, but it was fine. Whatever. Some of the visuals were really fucking cool. You know what I'm saying? Some were not. We'll get into that. Yeah. Do I like this more than Ragnarok? Hell no. I think highly inferior.
I was actually, when I went to take a piss.
It doesn't have a Hulk fart scene, though.
When I went to take a piss, I was like, this is far worse than Ragnarok. But for some reason, I had less of a violent reaction to it. Mm-hmm. I think because, like I mentioned, it's more like consistently crappy instead of cool moments and then crappy. It eases you into the crap more, I guess. Mm-hmm. So and also it doesn't have, like you said, a freaking Hulk's asshole.
It does have Thor's fucking asshole.
It does.
But
ass rating?
You know what? That's a good ass, guy.
It was a decent ass. I gotta say,
I wish I had that ass.
I'm a fan of. You know what? I'm gonna go one more positive. I'm a beefcake fan. He was a great beefcake.
He's a good beefcake guy. The ladies get wet. Johnny Wet Ass is just wet from the get go. Unfortunately, it's in his ass. Yeah. Let's talk about this guy. All right. So in the negatives, we might say some positives. That's really the easiest way to get to the positives, because there's so much negative here. This is a movie I feel ultimately the negatives outweigh the positives. It's not as bad as people are making out to be, but it's pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? But it's not Doctor Strange bad. That's the difference. Doctor Strange
is almost unwatchably bad. Like, it's unenjoyably bad.
And the more darker elements in Doctor Strange feel completely, opposite of the ridiculous humor in it. Mm. Here, it's just all ridiculousness. So though that wrongs the more serious aspects of it, you're like, whatever, it's just all ridiculous. Fuck it. Mm-hmm. Like, you can ride with that easier than the Doctor Strange horrible imbalance.
I saw someone describe this as what's the director's name? Taika
Waititi.
Misunderstanding what worked in Ragnarok, and I kind of agree with this. It's kind of like they just took all the silly shit and made it the entire movie.
I will say this: we don't really know the extent of that comment.
Oh yeah, well, it could be just Marvel.
It could be just Marvel because
whoever's responsible, they misunderstood.
This is This was a movie that had a much longer cut, as we are used to Marvel movies. So I don't understand why the fuck they just wouldn't let him have a longer cut.
Apparently, he was fine with it, shitting on our boy Zach.
I understand his approach. You know, like Joss was like, yeah, that's okay until he was out, and so I understand not wanting to shit where you eat.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and I understand there being some sort of pride in creating a product that you're forced to create anyway. I get that. I get where he's coming from, but this clearly was not the intended product. You know, it's so evident that it's not the intended product. So, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I like Taika Waititi. I like his work mostly outside of the Marvel universe.
I've only seen his MCU shit, so I hate him.
Yeah, I mean, you really gotta experience. He is a really. There is a particular approach to his humor that you're either gonna like or dislike, but I feel in the Marvel sense, his personality is one of the ones, along with James Gunn, that's been most on screen. So we don't know. We're probably never going to see a longer cut of this, but we don't know exactly where this movie was. What is true about that is that the cut we did get just focused on the humor stuff, basically, and that really hurt it because it just felt like it was monotone at times and yet inconsistent with what we're fucking seeing sometimes, like the gore and the Jane stuff.
There's a siege in New Asgard or whatever, and everybody's just joking and having fun, even though there's like destruction happening. You're like, what's happening?
If there was breathing room between the humor, you could get away with that humor. I mean, there's proof of that throughout the Marvel movies. Whether you like the humor or not, it's not offensively shooting at you 24/7. Here it kind of is, and I totally get people fucking hating the shit out of that. You know, I was not fond of a lot of it, but again, I wasn't like, God damn it, like with Doctor Strange. I was just like, oh, shut up, that's not funny at all. So there's that. Some of the effects on this are fucking wildly bad, guy. I'm just gonna be honest with you, especially at the beginning. It almost feels like the effects get better as it goes along, but we know that's not how movies are shot. But at the beginning, they just feel like really good TV
like CW
series effects. Well, better than that, but there's just like a wonkiness to the movement. It feels super unnatural. The like, you know, the way people move and so you're kind of like, especially that JCVD split thing, you know, just stuff like that. You're like, It does help that, again, the tone is more comedic, so you're like, whatever, but it still looks like fucking shit. Now, they do get better looking as it goes along, and especially with, like, the fights with gore and all that stuff. They look really cool.
Yeah, I actually thought that looked kind of cool, the little, like, black and white sequence they did. That looked cool.
Oh, I gotta ask, because when you saw the toy of it, Thor's new armor.
I hate it. It's ugly. It's freaking disgusting.
I think it looked great in the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, because it's all the colored. I think it's fine 90% of the time when he doesn't have the helmet on. It's mostly just when he has the helmet on that you're like,
To me, it gives not as bad as this, but Cap's first outfit.
Yeah, it's like
vibes,
a complete,
so fake looking, like it doesn't belong in the real world.
Over designed.
Yeah,
and it's weird because in the first scene where he JCVDs and shit. Or actually, I think it was after that. He has a kind of cool looking outfit, the black one. I was like, just go with that one. The other one looks like freaking dog shit. Colorful dog shit.
I do like that they made a joke of it. Like, his insecurity made him don this, like, more elaborate... and there's even, like, a, you know, like his helmet extends. I do like that because clearly the costume shit.
Yeah.
But...
it's still shit.
It's still shitty looking.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad the helmet was not a thing past a certain point.
It looks so bad.
But that was a super shitty outfit, guy. Jane looked pretty fucking rad. I feel like, you know, a lot of people like to bitch about Marvel, like, being inclusive. And, of course, I'm Mexican, you're Mexican. We're all for inclusion. I do feel that this movie feels a little like try hard sometimes. Like, God damn, I've never seen so much diversity, and I literally live in a diverse fucking city.
I guess Corey's gay.
Yeah. And again, that's not the actual. I mean, that I'm not talking about. I'm talking like the children of Asgard. I
just wanted to say
the children of Asgard were like of every.
Yeah, dude. There was like freaking lichens and shit.
There was no two of each person. You know what I'm like? How can you be that diverse? That's impossible. But so you know whatever. But we don't really give a fucking shit about that. I'm more concerned with the fucking. Is the movie good? And the answer is it's a thing.
Definitely a thing. The hell is this shit?
So let's. What else, guy? You gotta have something, guy. What were your thoughts on Russell Crowe?
I hated it.
You hated my boy Russ?
Oh no, I hated that they did my boy wrong, man. He's come from freaking cool ass roles, and now he's freaking being a clown, which is fine. Obviously, he was having fun with it, but come on, guy. He's freaking Superman's dad, man. Does that. Now, granted, he looks like a potato, so what else are you going to do with him? Also,
thoughts on people that call potatoes patatas?
Hate that. Spuds.
Sidebar.
Spud-tatoes. I think some stuff was really visually annoying in this movie.
Example?
Like when they're in the gods realm, there's like these ugly ass... Like there's a guy with feet and like a fuzzy head. And it's like played as a joke, but it's still visually annoying. Like in the first scene with those blue guys, I wanted to punch every single one of them. They're disgusting. It's just some visually annoying stuff. And then there's some visually cool shit. So you're kind of like, what is this?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to go to find. How do I state this? Once you've established, like in Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that, once you've established that there's a panoply of races out there, and the you know. You have to keep that going.
Panoply?
Now it's a good one. And now we have all these bizarro races, which are visually humorous, but at the same time, yes, can have that effect of like wanting to punch the shit out of
every single one of those blue guys.
Especially when the joke is kind of empty, like
like the dumpling guy.
Yeah, like okay.
Look at that dumpling god. He's funny.
Yeah, could have done without that. There's a throwaway Jesus joke in there that I feel would have just been better if you showed Jesus. I feel more offended by the fact that you just said that's the god of carpentry versus just showing the J-Man doing his thing. Although that would have started a whole thing with a whole different breed of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It just feels like some stuff was too try hard and then like let's put as much as we can in this. Which again, the movie had a lot more breathing room. You could get away with that stuff, but it's just an onslaught of stuff, and so I have to agree with you. The visual annoyance stuff is, you know, it's really part of the issue. You know what I'm saying? The bigger issue, but I gotta agree, guy. Look, I said I loved Gore, or I said I liked Gore because it's my boy Chris, but now I gotta reveal that I didn't dig him as much as probably you did.
Well, I didn't say I dug him. I said...
You said... Your positive comments were much more positive than I intended mine to sound. I'll say that.
Let me reiterate my point to try to clarify it a little. I liked how he portrayed him in his movements. You know, when he's like interrogating Thor and the clan. I thought that was kind of cool.
The clan's in this? Holy shit.
Not the clan. The Superman's the one that fights the clan.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but also he had some insensitive.
Yeah, don't look at the World War II covers.
And woo! I almost said it, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's just say he wanted you to slap someone that rhymed with slap.
Yeah.
Circa World War II. Yeah. That's not good. Anyway.
Asiatic people, in case you were wondering. Anyway. Thankfully he doesn't do this. But yeah, I like how he portrayed him like in his movements and stuff, but obviously his character is like non-existent in this movie.
It's so threadbare, man.
He literally disappears for half the movie, and when he's there he's just kind of a guy.
Yeah. I feel that he probably put in a lot more into this. Well, I don't feel it. It's fucking obvious that he put in a lot more into the character than they were displayed ultimately. So though, yes, I mean, you get the feel for what could have been. More often than not, you're just like, well, that was a scene that happened. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was a good choice as a comic fan. And I don't really read modern Marvel comics since like after the Ultimate era ended. Every now and then I'll read a thing here or there, like Immortal Hulk and stuff like that. But one of the things I did read was the Gore, the God Butcher run, and the whole, kind of Thor being kind of in a very dark place kind of era. I forgot the guy that wrote it, but I
think it was Gornak.
I think it was Gornak guy. Gornak, to be precise, is a Gornak cousin. But yeah, man, like, this was a movie that needed to really focus on. Well, this character, I feel like it would have really benefited the movie to focus a lot on him, with Thor being the B plot.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't have to have Thor up front in a Thor movie anymore. He's had a grillion movies by now. So they really did him wrong. The intro scene leaves so much to be wanted. So the end scene kind of loses a lot of impact because of that. But he is cool. And I do, by the way, he looks very different in the comics. And I know there was some commotion about that before the movie came out among comic fans, which fuck comic fans, really, at this point. But I think there's a good reason to choose to not give him that weird alien look. One, it makes him more relatable to, human audiences. Two, it's fucking Christian Bale. And that alone is pretty interesting.
I kind of disagree, because I feel like if you had told Christian Bale, you're going to play this guy, read this comic, first of all, he would not read the comic because he's Christian Bale. He doesn't have time for that garbage.
Of course not.
Quoted him, by the way, when they asked him about Marvel movies.
He's also too busy yelling at people.
That's a good point. But also, he would go through the trouble of growing disgusting tentacles to do it and losing his nose.
That's true, man. Yeah, I just felt such a fucking lost opportunity with the core thing. And the Jane Foster element, she has stage 4 cancer. It sucks that they had to basically flashback exposition her entire story. Nothing wrong with that, considering, she was out of the Marvel Universe for, other reasons. It's just that it's so quick and you're supposed to care about it that you're
I think that plot point could have been done well, like the Captain Marvel thing in the comics, just kill the character and they'll have him stay dead. But then there's a post-credit scene where you're like, they undid that, I guess.
The post-credit scene is ass.
Yep.
First of all, it looks like fucking shit. It looks
cheap as shit, dude.
Cheap as shit, and then you're like, okay, well, I guess she's alive. And it feels like a TV outtake.
Yeah, it does.
Like, what the fuck?
Idris was like, I'm in this.
Yeah, Idris was definitely in it. His son is a character in this, and he has one of the weirder effects that our boy, the Guardian, forgot about when I showed him and asked him, is this in it? The kids playing a role, the Asgardian kids playing a role, because they're kidnapped by Gore, in case you haven't seen it. They're kidnapped by Gore and used basically as a means to get Thor to, where Gore's going, because he needs a storm breaker to open something, right? So these kids are there, and they're a thing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they're really unnecessary, but whatever. They kind of have like a cool scene when they're involved in the fight with Gore, but
even that scene has some moments where you're like, don't do that.
I just feel like that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Take one kid, take Heimdall's son. At least we establish a new character that's gonna do what Heimdall did. But you take all the kids, and then now we got a new Asgard in play, and new Asgard looks like shit.
Yeah, there's some really whack visual gags too.
Yeah. So whatever. Anyway, anything else you want to add, gang?
Nah, homie.
This was a very mixed experience, and really it wouldn't be mixed had Doctor Strange 2 not come along. I dare say the Eternals also, although the Eternals was more on the do something side of things.
Yeah.
But Doctor Strange 2 is so shitty that it's made this look good in comparison to it. Well, not good, but acceptable in comparison to it. So that really puts me in a hard spot. So let's give this a score relative again to this type of movie. Definitely not comparing this to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or something. But
why that?
Hate Danny now?
No.
Milos Forman guy? It's a classic.
Yeah, but why would you ever compare this to freaking
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. We're not comparing them to that.
Well, I think that was a given. No one is thinking these fools are gonna freaking compare it to Juan Cuckoo.
You'd be surprised, gang. We're not, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about it.
I'm gonna go...
Score. Scale, 1 to 10. Go.
I think I'm gonna have to be mad honest and be like 3. Because I did like some stuff, but it was all very superficial stuff. And it's definitely a movie that exists.
I don't remember what the fuck I give Doctor Strange 2, but
I think it was a 1 or something.
Give it like a... Was it that low?
I don't remember. No, I think it was a 2 actually.
Whatever the fuck I gave it, just put like a point above that.
Yeah.
This is a movie. Again, it had moments, and it just make you wish to see the intended cut of it. But what we got is definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing. Just a tonal mess, in my opinion. I know you were more like it's totally consistent. I agree with what you're saying in terms of... But for me, it was like, this fucking sucks.
In the fact that it's ass throughout, I meant.
Yeah, the ass throughout tone. Sucks my nard. Johnny Wet Ass gives it 2 wet ass. 2 wet asses. Which is not a good score because those asses stink.
They're bad in Dollar Tree.
Yeah, this is not a good movie, guy. Yeah.
Our boy Guardian loved it somehow.
Our boy Guardian did love it, so that's a thing.
I mean, whatever. If you like it, you like it.
Yeah, whatever you like, you like. We've always said that on our channel, but we're just gonna say that we hate it.
I wouldn't even say I hate it.
No, it's just so
like a thing that exists.
There.
Like if you were like, let's watch it again, I'd be like, all right.
It's the wrong movie at the wrong time, also.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need this shitty movie right now.
Yeah.
You probably could have squeaked out of it if it had been preceded by a great one, but no, it wasn't. Doctor Strange 2 sucked. So anyway, this is a fucking movie we saw. What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments down below. Did you like it? If you liked it, let us know why. Should we rewatch it? I hope not. But we will sometime, right? But anyway, we're out.